Hey, Tom Rabbit! I hope you got this for your recording. Hey, YouTube out there. Tom Rabbit likes to record these. Hey, Tom Rabbit!
But I'd love to hear you engage Rob, if you would. And then, I mean, if it can be reasonable, I know it can get heated.
Is he objecting to Romans 1?
Well, he's an atheist, so he doesn't think that, and he doesn't believe God. He will. I think he says that he believes God does not exist, right, Rob? Or is it agnosticism? Or where?
No, I think God doesn't exist. I think, in fact, it's impossible for God to exist.
Okay. What is it that is fundamental that dictates all instances of what it is, can be, and cannot be?
The 10th dimension.
What is that?
The 10th dimension.
Is the 10th dimension absolute and immutable?
Yeah.
And where did you get that from?
A dimensional discovery.
That's not informative to me.
Well, it's a bit like a revelation, except it's a natural occurrence where you go into a deep meditation and you come to know things about the totality of reality.
Were you sober at the time?
Of course.
Okay, so you're engaging in mysticism then.
I'll tell you, Darth, he's probably referring to God and just calling it the 10th dimension.
Right. I think Darth knows what he's doing. He's running a parallel.
Well, what certain atheists will do, and I'm not certain here that Rob is doing it. It seems that he is, but he can correct me if I'm wrong. Is they attempt to do a materialistic parody of the Christian worldview, okay, where something fundamental, whatever they identify, reveals itself. So when did this occur, Rob?
Some point in the past.
Well, was it this past year?
The last 5 years. Does it matter when it occurred?
Okay. Now, so could you give me some more information as to what this thing, its characteristics are?
Sure. So it consists of length, width, height, time, other timelines, hyperspace between the timelines. The points between dimensions 7 to 9 consist of all information in all possible universes, and the 10th dimension consists of all possible information in the entirety of reality. Nothing exists outside of this, since it would be non-reality.
Yeah,
It's timeless, unchanging. Hang on, let me just finish. It won't take long. It's about another 20 seconds, maybe less. It's timeless, unchanging, all-encompassing, contains all truth, cannot contain falsehoods, which would only happen in a mind, and is non-personal, so cannot deceive.
You're describing God.
Okay, so you're saying that this thing, you said it's timeless?
Correct.
Okay. Is there one term that you use for this thing? Is it just the 10th dimension?
Yeah.
Okay, and the 10th dimension is timeless.
Correct.
Is this 10th dimension all that there is? Or
yeah, encompasses all reality.
Oh, okay. So the 10th dimension is all that there is. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's the info in the entirety of reality.
Okay. So the 10th dimension is equivalent to the term reality?
I mean, you could say that. You don't have to necessarily.
No, I'm asking you.
I mean, you could, I suppose, say that. But the 10th dimension itself is what I'd say it's the totality of reality. That's a better way of describing it.
11 minutes later.
If we have two or more things, okay, are the discrete members within the grouping of the concrete one, are the discrete members absolute in and of themselves?
I'm not sure on that, but I'm not making the claim that there are two or more.
Well,
I'm saying there's one.
if you're not sure, you see, here's the problem. Now you have a contradiction involved here, and this is typically what happens when people start making things up. Right? I just asked you earlier. Okay, what is it fundamentally? I was asking for one thing that dictates all discrete instances as to what it is, can be, or cannot be. So I just ask you, any one of the discrete particulars, are any of those individual members discretely by themselves, absolute in themselves or not? You said
Oh,
you don't know. But you
no,
see,
no,
here's the
that I do.
problem.
Now you've rephrased it. No, that's fine. No, they're
No, I didn't.
obviously they're not absolute.
No. Okay. Well, now you contradicted yourself.
Okay, so let me explain it again to you. There is one thing, it's the 10th dimension, and I'll explain it again. It contains all possible information in the entirety of reality. Nothing exists outside of this, since that would be non-reality.
And this was revealed to you mystically?
This was a dimensional discovery.
I don't know what that means.
It means you go into a deep meditative state, and you sort of, the best way to describe it, I guess, is to become one with reality, I guess. A bit like mystics have, yeah. It's kind of like mystics in a way.
But here's the problem. Okay, when you actually make up stuff, it becomes obvious once. I mean, you'll fool low-hanging fruit, but it doesn't fool me, because all I have to do is ask certain precise metaphysical questions, and I've already gotten you to contradict yourself. I asked you a simple question that you understood. I said, is any one individual discrete thing among the set of all discrete things, is any one of those absolute in and of themselves? And you said, I don't know. Do you recall?
No, you didn't phrase it like that. You rephrased it.
Yes, I those were my exact words.
I don't think it was.
Those are my exact words.
Then I would have said to you, no, they're obviously not absolute by that standard.
Now what you're doing is the prevaricator's veto. You are absolutely lying about what I said. I was very precise and clear about what I said. And there are other people in the room heard you. I made myself abundantly clear. I said any one of the plurality of discrete things, is any one of them absolute in and of themselves, that they're unconditionally non-dependent or non-derivative?
Well, obviously not. I mean, that's a simple answer.
But you just said a few minutes ago, when I asked the exact same thing, your answer was, I don't know.
You didn't phrase it like that.
Okay, you are now lying. You see, that this is the problem in dealing.
We'll be able to go back
you
on the
are
replays.
you are lying. You are lying right now. I'm going to call you out as lying. This is
I'm
what
not
people
interested in
do. Okay, well, you are lying right now.
Have you got a further rebuttal that you want to offer, or are you just going to look? I'm not interested in the meta, right? When it gets down to the meta, and I'm a straight shooter like you. Now we're going to start talking over each other. It's not going to work with me. So the steamrolling is not going to work with me. Do you understand? This is not going to work with me. You do this with other people. It's not going to work with me. Do we understand each other?
You guys were doing so good.
You phrased it differently the first time. The second time, it's quite clear.
All you want.
Well, I'm not interested in the meta. Have you got anything else you wish to ask, or are you going to monologue about meta?
I'm not monologuing.
Yeah, in what way are you an atheist?
Hold on a second. I am simply pointing out to you, sir, you can put on all the bravado you want and display the Heckler's veto and the prevaricator's veto, both of which you are deploying right now. I wasn't born yesterday, sir. Okay, I'm 61 years old. Now, I'm not
done. You act like a 16-year-old.
What you're doing right now is the Heckler's veto. I'm not being
like a 16-year-old. So are you.
I am being confrontational with you.
And I'm being confrontational right back at you. Can you handle it?
I'm going to ask you that if he doesn't stop this,
Andrew, I hope you just dismiss this request, because I'm going to ask you not to interfere. He's a big boy. He's got his big boy pants on. He can deal with it. Go ahead, Andrew.
I would ask you to moderate.
I check it out, Darth. So I did say before you, as you came in, I said that I was hoping to not have to moderate, or I wasn't going to moderate.
Well, he's decided that he's wanted to deploy the Heckler's veto and the prevaricator's veto. Okay, and unless a moderator steps in, this is a tactic that these atheists do. Once they get cornered.
Look, we're not interested in the meta here. This goes on every time, right? This is like a 16-year-old whining and complaining. It's painful to my ears.
Rob, could you concede,
Andrew, are you going to put up? Are you going to stop?
Hold on.
Yes, he is going to put up with it.
Hold on. Just a second. Darth, you're my friend. Rob's my friend. This sucks. Okay, this is a bad situation. But here's the thing.
I told you this would happen eventually.
Andrew, did he not lie about what he just said?
And that's what I was going to say. Darth, and this is an honest answer. I don't know if you said that verbatim, but you sound very precise.
No, he said.
No, but hold on.
I asked him I will repeat
Why are you allowing him to
verbatim
overtalk you,
what I
Andrew?
asked him. Andrew,
This is what
you
happens.
are
He
going
tries to
listen
steamroll
me,
in rooms,
Andrew.
and when he can't
This is what
steamroll,
he's doing.
he
The
whines and
Heckler's
complains
veto.
like a child and runs away.
Okay. How about
Andrew,
this?
listen
How
to
about
He's
me.
got to
this?
have his big boy
This is
pants
what
on.
they do.
Look, stop
Are
putting
you
on
going to
your
stop it,
underwear.
Andrew,
Stop
or
wetting
not?
yourself. Stop whining.
Okay.
You're
Andrew,
like a
are you
16-year-old
going to stop
in a
this bad
61-year-old body.
conduct or not?
Garth, I'm trying
Stop whining.
to talk. I'm trying to talk. So here's the thing.
This is the
I think
little
we have
game that they play.
well,
Why are
check
you
it out.
interrupting Andrew?
Scott, but here's the thing. Scott's in the room too, and so is Michael. And they can, and I honestly, because I'm trying to pick up stuff. I'm literally cleaning as I'm listening to you guys. So I did not hear verbatim, Darth. I'm being 100%
I asked
honest.
him, I'll repeat what I said, okay?
Well, how about this?
I
Can
asked
Rob
him
just concede it?
directly.
Can Rob just concede it? Can you just concede that you said that, and then just we can move on? Or is that going to put you in a position where you feel
Concede
like
what?
he's concede that you said what he said or I'm sorry, that he said
No, he
what
said he won't concede it.
Okay, so that's kind of an impasse. I mean, I don't really.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
why
hey,
does that
Andrew,
matter? You
grow a
guys can
spine,
carry
will
on
you?
having the
This
conversation.
is what these atheists do.
Yeah, we're not
Well,
interested in the meta.
I think
Okay.
Darth feels like
Yeah.
Darth feels like he cornered. I think Darth feels like he
No,
cornered
what I
you.
did
He
was I
got you.
caught him in a, I caught
Right.
him
I get
in
it.
a philosophical blunder.
Right.
Okay. He realized it. So now he's lying about what he previously committed to. He's outright lying about it. When I'm confronting him about him lying about it, now he's pulling the Heckler's veto. This is
But guys,
what
we
they
have
do.
replays, so we
Is
can
it?
just
Yeah,
check
the
it
I
later.
don't care.
replay. The
Andy, I
replay.
don't care about the replays right now. The bottom
No, I
line
hear
is
you.
this
I
is
hear
the
you.
little game, Andrew. Listen, I'm just
Yeah,
giving
I'm
you a
not
little piece of
interested. This is
advice,
the
Andrew.
same rhetoric we
If
get
you
day in and day
allow,
out. We're
okay,
not going
Andrew,
to
would you
carry on
Okay.
with
please
this.
stop
The only
this?
thing is when I came, Darth. Before.
Andrew, do you
Can you
let
put
me
him in
answer
the
your
audience,
question?
please, Andrew?
No, I
Andrew,
don't want.
do
I'm not
you
going
want
to.
me to participate in
I do
rooms in
want you
your
to
future?
participate. I do.
Okay,
All
then
right. How
you
about this?
need to
Don't let him
grow a
blackmail you,
spine
Andrew. Don't
and
let him
Can I
blackmail
stop
you.
ask
this
you one thing,
behavior
Darth?
of his.
Is there any way, Darth? I can ask you this. Is there any way that we can do this without you giving me an ultimatum? Is there any way?
No, I am fed up, Andrew,
He asked you
I
a
with
understand.
direct
certain
question. We're not
Christians.
we're
Okay,
not interested in your
would you
meta.
please
He asked you
stop
a
this?
direct question.
Rob
When
I
you
thought
ask
that I
direct
thought.
stop
questions,
his
you insist
abusiveness
on
right
direct
now,
answers.
or excuse
Andrew
me,
asked you a
Andrew, if
direct
you don't
question.
Well,
stop this bad,
yeah.
unseemly
He's going to run
behavior,
away
Okay.
again.
Hold
I
on.
will
Hold on.
put you
Hold on.
back on block,
I
and I
don't
won't
mind.
participate in your
Okay.
rooms anymore.
That's fine.
Okay?
Rob, bear with
This
me,
is what
brother.
they do. Grow a
I hear you.
spine and
Bear with me.
stop this guy from
Listen to
misbehaving.
the guy
Okay.
who hasn't got his big boy pants on here.
Okay, but
Okay?
Rob, just help me out here, brother. Help me out, because this sucks, man. Because I do think that Darth has a lot to contribute.
I'm not the one who's misbehaving
You're
here,
in the
Andrew.
No,
minority there, Andrew.
I understand.
Andrew, are you going to moderate him or not? What's it
Well,
going to be, Andrew?
can we switch to another person? Can we just talk to some?
Andrew,
What do
I
you want?
asked you a direct question.
You're being
What do you want me
blackmailed,
to?
Andrew.
Just
You
tell
have to
me
stand
I
up
know.
directly
now. If you
what your
don't
No, I
stand
know.
up,
point is.
you'll be bullied.
Andrew, I'm
I'm not.
speaking to you right now. Would you
I
please
understand
stop
that.
him from interfering from me speaking to you? What I
What do you
want
want?
to know from you
Yes,
is, are
yes.
you going to moderate and get him to stop this abusive behavior that he's doing?
What exactly are you asking me to do? Just
Are
so
you
I
not
understand.
listening to him?
I
Did you not listen to him
I
constantly pull
did.
the heckler's veto? Do you know what the heckler's veto is?
Can you explain it to me? I don't know.
Oh, okay. The heckler's veto is where somebody is speaking in some venue. Usually it would be like, say, a college or university campus. And there are people on campus who do not want that person to speak. So they show up in numbers and they heckle, they protest, they make loud noises so that the speaker cannot communicate and have an interaction with the audience unless and until whoever is operating the venue, whatever auspices it's operating under, comes down, calls security, or calls the police. It's also a legal concept. It's called the heckler's veto. And if the powers to be that do not put a stop to the verbal noise and physical disruption, then the person speaking and their interaction cannot go on.
Okay.
Now, the heckler's veto is employed in forums like this, is that when somebody gets cornered, right, and then they get confronted about glaring mistakes or contradictions or lies that they're telling, they then outright lie, and then they become disruptive back to that person, and then they accuse that person of being disruptive. That's called the heckler's veto. This is exactly what he's doing here. Now,
Okay.
either you're going to tolerate this or you're not going to tolerate
Okay.
it.
Now,
What's it going to be, Andrew?
I hear you.
Can I
Darth.
respond, Andrew?
So
I've allowed him to monologue. Can I
No, I
respond?
just want you can respond to it. Let me just say this real quick, and yes, you can, Rob, for sure. Let me just say this real quick. Darth, when you came in, I vocally said to everyone, because I want to keep my own word, because I did tell everybody on stage, I said I will just tonight only. I said I will not moderate tonight only. I said
Are
that.
you going to moderate Rob? I've asked you this about 6 times now.
He's just
I know.
responded to you. Didn't you hear what he said?
I
Okay,
did,
all right, Andrew.
but don't, but don't.
Welcome back to my
Well,
blacklist.
all
Have a
right,
nice day.
Darth.
I won't be
I'm not
back.
trying to.
Off
Okay.
you go again.
Goodbye, Andrew. See you later.
Bye.
Come on, man.
This is what happens every time. Look, Andrew, you were right. There's no two ways about it. He did phrase the question differently, and if you go back to the replay, I actually remember part of what he said. He said two things within a group, or some words to that effect, right? Then he phrased it differently the second time. So if you go back on the replay, it's there. And if it's exactly the same words, I will concede publicly to you that I was mistaken. If in fact it's not the same words, then hopefully I'm vindicated.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I'm totally fine with that. And I said I wasn't gonna. Yeah, that sucks. I just, yeah, it's a bummer. Scott, I wish you would have said something, man. Sitting there all silent. Come on, man.
But
No, but it's your room, buddy. This is where I told you ahead of time, right? This is what's going to happen. I told you because this is what always goes on. When he can't proceed, or when he thinks he's got something, when he doesn't, then this is what happens. Then we go into a long meta monologue. And of course, because I'm a straight shooter, I'm not going to put up with that with this guy. He's like a
Yeah,
16-year-old in a 61-year-old body. So it's not going
yeah.
to work. So when he comes up against somebody like me, he throws his toys out of the pram and then whines and complains to the mod, hoping that he can blackmail them into some action. So I
No, and
appreciate you
yeah,
stood your ground.
and no, for sure, brother. And I'll concede as much as I can, but I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna roll over. But it's just, it is a bummer that it had to get that far.
Did you catch that, Tom Rabbit? Hope you upload that to YouTube.